Welcome back to another episode of Sips and Spirits. This is a podcast for those who love spirits, excuse me, of both the alcoholic and spectral kinds. I am one of your hosts, Chelsea.
I'm your co-host, or her co-host, not your co-host, her co-host.
Well, yeah, they're on our journey, on this journey with us, so we are the co-hosts.
Yeah. Did you read that by memory?
I did.
Good job.
Yay, I did it.
I have not memorized mine. I don't think I will. A little disclaimer, once again. We are not historians. Any facts or stories presented are from various sources, and we mean no disrespect if something is not presented 100% accurate. I don't like that percentage of percent. We make no claims that these tales are true. We just found them to be spooky and interesting in nature.
We are not mixologists. Cocktails and spirits are tasted for the first time during an episode recording unless noted otherwise.
And today
is a new cocktail, or new
spirit
beverage spirit I'm very excited for.
Yes. When I was picking this up, I got asked by almost every employee who saw me with them, how are they? And I was like, I have no idea. I'm going to find out tonight.
Yeah. Can't wait.
Can't wait to open them. So what are we drinking?
So, now I need my notes. Okay, today we are calling upon a spirit from Sake One Brewery in Forest Grove, Oregon. We are using their Yomi craft sake to summon the afterlife to the table. That was really choppy. I'm so sorry.
I was like, that's a mouthful of information. Like,
yeah, it's a lot of information.
Okay.
I don't know. I kind of love like throwing that and then breaking it down in my facts. But before that, we have to do our cheers and our tasting.
So we're going to open this bad boys up.
Yeah, so this sake comes in a can. So yeah, usually you'll see them in a glass bottle.
Sakes?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's not nice. Let's pour this guy in.
We should have opened it by the mic to get that little. And we did want to pour it out into the little shot glass, so just so you guys who are watching in the video can see that this is a clear sake. It's a Junmai Ginjo sake. There's several types of sake. I believe at least 8 different types. But they go from various levels of clarity. So this is, when it's a Ginjo, it's usually clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
You ready? Try this. Kanpai.
Kanpai.
Wrong hand.
That's nice.
That's not bad.
I feel like this is perfect for winter.
Yeah.
It starts off cool on your palate and then warms up.
Yeah. It's not bad.
It's winter in a can.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect timing.
I'm trying to find what I'm tasting, but I'll let you explain that to me, hopefully. We're going to drink the rest of the time from the can, just so you guys know. I'm not doing shots again.
So if you're not familiar with sake, I've been I really wanted to do a Japanese liquor because I know they do have fun labels that are based off of mythical creatures. So we're going to go ahead and get into what Yomi, the afterlife, is.
Okay. As
part of our notes, because they paste it all over their can. That's kind of what really drew us to it. First was, of course, the Oni mask that's there on the front. It's like their warrior mask they would wear into battle. If you didn't guess by now, I love Japanese culture. So I have a lot of fun tidbits about that, but I'll try to stick to my notes. But yes, it is pronounced sake.
Sake.
All right, so let's get into Yomi Sake and their thing. So I'm actually, instead of writing it down in my notes, I'm reading it directly from the can.
The can.
Because they put a lot of information on here, and it's pretty cool.
Let's go.
So,
I'll read along.
They say that this is best enjoyed chilled, which is what we did.
Mm-hmm.
And Yomi is Japanese for the world of darkness and afterlife. Each day as the sun sets, a world of darkness presents itself, offering offering unlimited opportunities for escape. According to Shinto mythology, Yomi is where Izanami, the goddess of creation, escaped after death. We each seek refuge from our normal life, a place where we shed our duties and revel unchained of our daily burdens. Life-giving rice and water are reborn as our hedonistic Yomi Junmai Ginjo. Ugh, sorry. A premium sake crafted to be enjoyed in your chosen world of darkness as you live in the moment prior to your return to the land of the living. So this definitely gives me the whole vibes of like Samhain celebrations and Day of the Dead celebrations, where you go into this world of darkness and it's a celebration of release. So I thought that was really cool. And I'm reading this in the store and I was like, well, this definitely sounds like a Sips and Spirits spirit.
Sips and Spirits, spirit. A sip in spirit for Sips and Spirits.
So, Yomi is created by Sake One, originally a sake importer, now sake brewery. So they would import premium sake from Japan and distribute it across America. So if you are drinking America, if you're drinking sake in the United States, it was probably imported by Sake One.
Sake One.
They were established in 1992 as a premium sake importer. What are you laughing about?
I'm just thinking, you said Sake One, I'm thinking Evo One.
Oh, God. Our anime nerds are coming out. They are America's first successful craft sake producer since 1997, using rice grown in Sacramento and brewed in Forest Grove, Oregon.
Ooh.
Their current sake brewmaster, Takumi Kuwabara, started with Sake One in 2018, but has over 26 years of sake brewing experience, both in Japan and in the United States. Yeah.
Neat.
So they've got a real genuine, it's not just someone taking this idea. There is a lot of their, the Japanese culture is built into the actual production
It's
process.
Kind of like Treehouse when they brought like all the ideas from the old land here.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
So as a company, they have been committed to broadening the enjoyment of premium Japanese and American sake worldwide and continue to do so.
Yay.
So, yeah. That's all I had. They didn't really have much for their notes on what you should be expecting to taste. I actually don't see that much when it comes to describing sake flavors, other than like, oh yeah, this is a lychee sake or an apple sake.
Besides like the main like fruit that they infuse it with.
Right, because it's just sake is a liquor made from rice that's been fermented with introduced varying yeasts, and then it grows. And you'll never guess where I learned that from.
Yeah, it was really funny. So, you have sake made from rice. You have whiskeys made from corn. You have vodka made from potatoes.
It's all grains.
And I'm like, how does people find this out?
This is so smooth. Well, probably started from just you had some of that whatever just happened to be fermenting out in the wild, or like got abandoned in their crops, got stuck in a puddle of water, whatever. And just from the odor or whatnot, they were like, let's try this in an actual like controlled environment, see what comes out of it.
Science.
Yeah.
Cool. Overall, I do enjoy it.
It's so smooth.
A little
liking
carbonated.
it.
So
Carbonated?
I feel like a little fizzies in my mouth.
I think that's the level of fermentation and purification.
You know, but it is a can, so it's like this kind of situation. So, but
Mhm.
overall, it's pretty good.
Definitely glad we chilled it.
Yeah, for sure. No, as it's getting warmer, I'm like, oh, God, thank God it's chilled. Thank God we got some more chilled up there.
And I'm like, I'm so glad we had some sushi today.
To have it.
And I can't wait to have my leftover sushi with this when this episode's done,
There we
because
go.
it's going to go so good with it.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell. So we did also want to make note, usually we would pour sake into little sake glasses, or they have these really neat wooden boxes, and they're called masu cups, which we were told about, and then I looked it up just to make sure I was going to share the right information. So when we were going to Japanese restaurant that we really loved quite frequently, and we'd always order a round or two of sake with our food. And they were asking if we wanted them served in these wooden boxes, and they're called a masu cup. So they're small, square wooden boxes that were used to measure the rice portions in Japan during the feudal period.
Oh.
They're usually made of a hinoki or cedar wood, which have natural antibacterial properties to keep food and drink fresh. Today, masu are lidless and traditionally used to drink sake at special occasions like birthdays, anniversaries, or weddings. Let's see. Sorry, I didn't summarize it. So, in most celebrations involving sake, a glass is placed inside the masu cup, over which the host will pour sake until it overflows into the masu cup like a waterfall. The overflowing is an act of kindness and generosity to the host to show their appreciation of your friendship. It also works as a little act of celebration to lift the spirits and to enjoy the present state of life. Yes. So it's meant to, when you watch it happening, to focus only on the beautiful waterfall of sake.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think we did it on a cup.
Right, no. So we did it, and it can be interchanged in that you have a cup or you have the wood box and it's served on a saucer, which was how we had it. And it gets filled to the brink, but you get it like having this little meniscus at the top. And if it overflows, that's supposed to be the overflowing of your good fortune.
That's neat.
Right. And then these are just some traditional rules for drinking with company when you're drinking sake. The sake should always be poured for you and vice versa. I know we messed up already.
Sorry.
Sake can be drunk from either receptacle, meaning it can be drunk from the glass or from the masu cup.
Okay.
And then some sakes can be enjoyed both cold or warm.
So I guess you serve some cups more, huh?
And majority of sake should be drunk slowly, like a wine. Taking a shot of sake can be thought of like taking a shot of Merlot.
Except, Okay.
Can I pour you some?
Of course. There we go.
There we go.
I guess let's start sipping sake.
You might need a masu cup. I almost overflowed it. Yeah. So, and when we had been told about it, the masu cup was like a Now, they didn't tell us what the name of the cup was. We just saw these wooden boxes. And they were like, it's supposed to be an overflowing of your good fortune and wealth that'll come to you if it does flow over. So
there we go.
And I swear they were always like, it was already spilled into the saucer when they'd get it to the table.
Yeah. Oh, because you're walking with it. It's like,
right.
Jiggle, 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 jiggle.
Well, so I imagine when you actually traditionally serve it or you're doing it for celebrations, the cups are on a table and then people take their cups when they're ready for them.
Yeah.
But yeah. So there's some of my fun little facts about sake.
Neat.
Yeah.
So before I get started with Would You Rather, I just want to talk about the whole experience of trying to find a story for this. We talked about it beforehand, and
Japan has a very interesting take on spirits.
Japan has a really interesting things on the afterlife, on spirits, on cryptids, and horror itself. It's just, is very different. Well, different's not the right word. It's very, it has its own little charm kind of thing. And we mentioned before that there are some similarities in cultures, even across the world, that have similar things. But when it comes to Japanese cryptids and spirits and horrors, it's not necessarily on a branch of its own. At least also what I've seen, kind of thing. But it has a different taste to it, I guess I would say. And, it feels a little different.
It's a unique form. They have their own special form of storytelling.
Kind of thing, and it's very interesting. I'm not saying it's better or worse than anything else, kind of thing. But yes, as an aspect, I think is just interesting. When you come to ghosts, the idea of the Japanese ghosts, you usually have tormented spirits in that thing. But then when you have cryptids, they're like ancient creatures, ancient beings, things things that were here to create what it is Japan or what it is Asia and those countries kind of thing. You have like ogres and demons and like what's that snake lady called? Snake ladies kind of thing, and whatnot. And it's just like they're
And the Jirogumo.
yeah, you have kappas and you have all these different like creatures and stuff. And it's really interesting, like to me, because like you have tales like even regionally, like you will have a special cryptid that those regions have, or just because of your environment or what they have, kind of thing. Versus other regions will like, oh, we don't care about that. That's not real, or that's not important to us because, like, let's example for a kappa, they always live around water. But if you live up in the mountains where there's like very little water, you're like, don't care about that. But let me tell you about something else, kind of thing. So it's always like, it's interesting, like, in that aspect of things, but, and I think it's more of my fascination with the Orient that, like, makes me kind of like interested in how things are written that way. But it's still like overall, it's like, okay.
Well, I can't speak for other Asian cultures, but at least with Japan, I feel like a lot of like their ghost stories and their cryptids, it stems from their religion practice, like one of their earlier religions of Shintoism.
Yeah.
Where they believe that everything had a soul and a manifestation, and depending on how you would care. You could love how I jumped a whole sentence there. How you would care for that object, and they believed every object had its own like soul and life. It took on a different personality or a different characterization, so it could morph. It could originally start as a good being and then turn into a more wicked or mischievous one, and vice versa. If you started to care for it more in an abandoned shrine, and you start taking care of it, then the spirits who are in charge of it also start to bring you fortune instead of misfortune.
Yeah.
So I think it plays into that, which is beautiful that they still embrace that, because it's one of their oldest practice religions and is still one of their top 3 observed.
Yeah. No, and it's like and I feel like at least with a lot of horror, or horror and cryptids in the matter, religion plays a big part of it, and any aspect of things. You go back to Samhain, all the like druid like thoughts and stuff like that. When you go to the Celtic lands of the fairies, and they're a religious space, like they're either belief of being good or bad kind of thing, and religion does shape a lot of things that way, kind of thing.
Well, I think it's just always so ironic how religion always it makes circles, and they take things from each other, or they all started off with a very similar base of beliefs.
Yeah.
They have their own takes and turns or interpretations of it, but and that's why we're here with all these different spirits and ghosts and goblins.
Oh yes.
Because it makes it so fascinating. And I feel like there was a note I wanted to I don't know what your story is about, but just for the listeners out there, if you hear like the term demon, it's not like a Catholic,
like
Christian-based demon.
No.
At least in Japan, they have a different interpretation of what a demon is. It's more energy, elemental based.
It's more like a cryptid kind of thing, like kind of
right.
Like,
they're called onis, and their closest translation to that is a demon or a devil. But it's not like if you are Western based, it's not the same kind of
Christian
creature.
Kind of devil kind of thing,
right.
No. Yeah.
So I just feel like it's important to make that point in case you do have it. If not, then there's a little cryptid fact for you.
I read it and I forgot what it was. I mean, I know what the story is about, but I forgot what they address it as. But we'll get there to a moment. But yeah, so before I get to the story,
I still have to get to the would you rather.
yes. When I was trying to find different stories, and I found like one of those lists, like 10 different horror stories from Japan or whatever. And there was cryptids, and there was one that I started reading the description and I stopped because I was like, nope, I am not doing this. And apparently, Japan has a haunted poem.
A haunted poem? Okay.
That if you read it out loud, bad things happen.
This does not surprise me.
And I was like, nope, I'm not going to read that even in my head.
Well, it's the whole, like, it's similar idea to the ring
Mm-hmm.
or ringu, right?
Yeah.
Where it's a videotape, but it actually started off as a book, I believe. And then it's a
Nursing Ringu.
well, I read into more of the ring lore after seeing the ring.
Uh-huh.
And then like my dad got on a whole big kick of watching Japanese horror films. So we watched Ringu, we watched Ju-on, which is The Grudge, and is it Dark Water, Black Water? We saw the Japanese version of it, but I think our DVD case just had the English name on it.
Okay.
And that was really good. I know they made an American version of that too.
I think I've seen the American version of all these.
And see, I've only seen the ring for the American version of these. But where was I going with this? Oh, so I looked more into the ring, like myth and lore and like origins, because it was like very terrifying very first time you see it. And it sticks with you after, right?
Mhm.
It just kind of hangs out in your head. And then I was just like curious, like a lot of people say this is so scary. And we saw Ringu and it was like, that was okay. I don't know if just the American version appealed more to my Western style of horror
Mm-hmm.
interests at the time.
Yeah.
But reading about all the lore, it actually was like it starts as a book and then it transforms into a film and it just keeps morphing. And then there's a point, because it's a series,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a point where I can only think of Samara as in the English. I can't think of what the girl's name is in Japanese, but so she transforms yet again into like a viral video, like the email video. So she's transforming to
adapt.
keep to keep current and keep present, which is horrifying.
Who has a VHS nowadays?
Right, so it doesn't seem scary now because how many of us are watching VHS tapes?
Unless you go to a cabin.
Unless you're like doing it for the nostalgia factor or that's all that's available wherever you're staying.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the Ghoulmates were talking about that when they were talking about watching The Ring for the first time. And I would love to share that with them. But yeah, so I found that really clever, but also very frightening.
Well, yeah.
That it makes sense that how do all these old ancient creatures, they keep getting their victims or stay present? Is there's just some beings out there that they can't be like purified or exercised.
They still want to be forgotten.
Yeah, it's just a vicious cycle that
they
keeps
adapt
going.
and evolve. You know, they have to.
Right.
Otherwise, then you don't get to experience it no more, and they're like, oh, I don't get to kill no more. That thing. Anyway, so that was that. But in the spirit of Japanese horror, I'm gonna read you the Would You Rather, and there's scenarios that you have to understand what kind of they are. Before you answer, so just listen and do that. So,
My lips are sealed.
would you rather encounter a ghost that attacks you, kind of like the slit mouth girl in Japan, or a ghost that is a bad omen, kind of like even we heard a story once of this texter who picked up a ghost and they were just talking the whole time, and all of a sudden when they got to the location, the ghost was gone. But it's a bad omen where when you encounter this, something bad happens to somebody you know. You have those two choices. Which would you rather? Be attacked or realizing that somebody else is going to get hurt?
I have kids to take care of. I'm throwing someone else under the bus. I'll live with the bad omen. Might like leave me traumatized for life, but yeah. Because so the first one, at least when I can recall stories and use the slit mouth woman, the Am I Beautiful as an example. And you have to outsmart that entity in that moment, essentially. I'm not quick-witted, guys. I have great comebacks, like 2 days after the fact. In the moment, I'm not going to have a good answer.
Well, apparently,
and that's how you're supposed to kind of survive it. But then, and most of the time, people don't.
well, I was reading some stories about this one specifically because I was like, okay, I'm gonna put her into the would you rather just as an example. Like, apparently there is multiple versions of her, where some of them, you can appease her with just candy, and she's like cool, groovy. Other times, if you get the wrong answer, she kills you, and you get the right answer, she makes you like her. So,
Right.
Jokers you out.
Yeah, so definitely take the bad omen. Throw someone else under the bus.
But what if that omen is somebody you care about?
It's it would. There's no winning.
No, of course not. There's no winning this would you rather. It's a lose every time.
I don't know. Yeah, because it's like, face off against the Am I Beautiful lady, or make a videotape for somebody, right?
That's an example kind of thing.
I'm throwing those examples out. Something relatable we've talked about a little bit, right? I know there's different renditions for both of them.
Yeah. So, omen for you.
Yeah. Because, not necessarily mean that omen is fatal either.
No, it can just be bad.
So, maybe I'm fairly lucky. Fortune's on my side.
Break a leg kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
You?
Personally, you know me.
Punch her in the face.
I like to face danger head on. But I have this big thing, and like it's just like a what to call it, like a personal thought, like like worry I always have that something happens when I'm around. Like let's say I get into a car accident when I'm people in the car, and something happens to everybody else but me, kind of thing, and so it makes me feel like super guilty about that. Kind of thing, and I have that thought in my head all the time, like when we travel with friends or whatever. It's like, I hope that happens, because what if I'm the one that comes out like scot-free and everybody else is like, you were driving, kind of thing. So, and that aspect of things, I'd rather have the attacking ghost, and I'll take my dice with that and see what turns out.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about that recently. How it's like our options, mine's so sympathy based, and yours is like, how can I be the most like physical with my, or confrontational with my encounter?
Yeah, if you're gonna do something, let's go head on, you and me, 1-on-1. Let's see what happens. Bring your friends. I don't know, whatever. But that's fine though.
Yeah, I think there's only been one of these Would You Rathers in 9 episodes, and a promo party where we've actually said, we agreed on the same answer. It was the mirror, I believe.
Yeah, because dolls
the mirror
are creepy.
Or the doll.
I don't like dolls.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Are you ready for this?
No, I'm kind of nervous. I'm gonna be honest here.
Well then, let's get started.
Wait, I need to top me up.
So liquid courage. Get the warrior inside you. Anyway.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. I can't shoot it now because you said I can't.
Well, don't.
No. Never mind.
Don't leave me in anticipation any longer. I'm going to wimp out and just be like, I'll see you guys in half an hour.
My father's family was just a little under 2 hours away by car from where we lived. A small village surrounded by farmland. I often stayed with my grandparents during my summer vacation and winter breaks from school, and they were always happy to play with me. But the last time I visited them was over 10 years ago. I was still in my 3rd year in high school. It was my spring break, and I had been invited to visit, and since the weather was good, I rode my bike out to their house. After I got there, I was a little cold, so I stretched out for a moment in the warm, sunny spot of the road. Then I heard something strange. Bo, 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 bo. It was a mechanical noise. It sounded strange, but human. I looked about to see where the noise was coming from, and I saw a white hat peeking over the top of the hedge. That hat moved along to a break in the hedge when I Could see that it was being worn by a woman with a white dress. She had to be tall, though. The hedge was over 2 meters high, 6 feet for our American listeners. Before I could really think about this much, the woman was gone, seemingly disappeared. The strange sound was gone too. At that time, I just guessed that this person's apparent height had been due to their wearing very tall platform shoes, or there had been a man dressed like a woman. Odd, but that was all. A little later, while having tea with my grandpa and grandma, I mentioned the strange person I have seen, and thought it was a transvestite. But when, as afterthought, I also mentioned the strange bo, bo, bo noise, my grandparents panicked. My grandpa suddenly showered me with questions. When did you see this? How much taller within the fence? Did you look at you? I answered as quickly as asked, and then he rushed to the phone in the hallway, shutting the sliding door so I couldn't hear the call. The room was suddenly very quiet. Grandma smiled a little, but I was trembling for some reason. Grandpa came back soon and told me I would be staying overnight with them. I had to admit that I didn't understand what the fuss was about and asked what was so bad about the strange woman. Grandpa said, Grandma can tell you. He looked at her and said he was going to pick up someone named Keisan, Mr. or Mrs., and then left. In a clear, shaky voice, Grandma said, it seems that Hachishakusama had been interested in you, but we shouldn't worry. Grandpa is making arrangements. Grandma then told me a little time that Hachishakusama was not a person. She was some sort of monster, named Hachishakusama because of her height. 8 shaku, a Japanese foot, which is about 11.9 inches tall. Hashi, 8, shaku, foot, sama, person. Her appearance could change somewhat, sometimes young, sometimes old, but she will always be abnormally tall and always have a creepy laugh. Bo, bo, bo. Once Hachishakusama took interest in a person, they were haunted to death in just a few days, and the last known victim of Hachishakusama had been 15 years previous. I learned later that Hachishakusama was supposed to be trapped in the shrine near the village, having been sealed in by 4 statues of Jizo, protective deity of children, each placed to the north, south, east, and west of the structure. The village had some sort of arrangement with the neighboring villages wherein they were given some advantages to make up for the fact they had to watch over the monster. For example, they got first priority on water use. Since it had been over dozens of years since Hachishakusama had killed someone, I had to wonder if the old men in those villages thought it was still a good arrangement. At the time, I couldn't quite believe what I was being told, of course, but Grandpa returned with a very old lady, Kei-san, for that's who it was, and handed me a small paper charm and told me to hold on to it. Then she and Grandpa went upstairs. While they were upstairs, I tried to excuse myself to use the bathroom, but Grandma wouldn't let me go alone, and she insisted on keeping the door open and an eye on me as I was using the facilities. This is when I started to really understand just how serious my grandparents felt the situation was. I was soon led upstairs to the bedroom. The single window in the room had been covered with newspapers on which a charm like the one I was holding had been affixed. In each corner was a small pile of morishio, sacred salt, and they had also set up a small wooden box with a statue of Buddha on it. I was told I would have to stay in the room until 7 in the morning, and that I couldn't leave no matter what. They provided a bucket for me to go potty in. Grandpa made it clear that neither him, nor Grandma would talk to me until 7 in the morning. Kei-san told me to keep the charm on me and to pray to Buddha if I got scared. I had a bed and a TV in that room. Grandma had left some snacks and I tried to watch some TV but couldn't pay attention. I wasn't hungry either, so I just lay on the bed, wrapped my sheets, and eventually fell asleep because the next thing I remember was waking up to a late night show on the TV. My watch said it was around 1 a.m. and I heard something tapping at the glass window. I tried to ignore it. It was very persistent. I had some tea and a snack and turned the TV down. Turned the TV to drown out the tapping. Then I heard Grandpa call from the hall. Are you alright? It's okay to come out if you're too scared. I started for the door automatically but stopped myself, and I remember how insistent my grandpa had been that he wouldn't talk to me until 7. Again, I heard him. It's okay. Come here. I wanted to be Grandpa's voice, but somehow it wasn't. Suddenly, the goosebumps all over me. Then I noticed the salt in the corner. It was becoming darker. I dropped in front of Buddha, clasping the charm in both hands, and started praying for help. Po, 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 po. The tapping in the window started again, louder than before, more intense, insistent. Then a defiant hand slapped the window. Despite the fact that I was on the second floor, I did the only thing that I could. I kept praying to Buddha. It was a long night. I really don't remember much other than praying until I heard the news on the TV. I looked over at the morning clock and the news screen and showed it was 7:13 a.m. All Japanese TV channels show the time on screen during monitoring programs. The tapping had stopped. The voice gone. The salt in the corners almost black. I gingerly opened the door. Grandma and Keisan, both looking worried, were there. Grandma in tears told me things were going to be okay. Downstairs, I found my father waiting. Grandpa came in from the outside, and we needed to drive off outside. I found there was a number of men standing around near a van. My grandpa's car was in the front in the van. My father was behind. I was sitting in the middle of the van with 8 men sitting around me. One on each side, and 3 in front and 3 in the back. One more man took the driver's seat, and Keisan took the passenger side on the front. I was told to keep my eyes closed and my face down. You're the only one who can see Hachishakusama. Don't look at her. Our convoy started off slowly at first. I don't think we had traveled 20 kilometers before Keisan warned us things were about to get hard. Then she started to chant phrases that sounded Buddhist, and then I heard the laugh again. Po, 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 po. I clutched the charm on my chest and kept my head down, but couldn't resist a quick peek at the window. That was a mistake. I could see the white dress. It appeared stationary as the car to the car's window, even though we had been moving very fast at that point. The figure moved as if it lowered its head to the window, and I gasped. The man next to me told me to shut my eyes, which I did, and tightly. Though no one else could see Hachishakusama, they all heard what happened next. The tapping. I don't know how, but the tapping started on every window in the van all at the same time. I don't know how long it lasted. Over time, it faded. Keisan had stopped chanting by that time as well, and eventually said that she felt that we were safe. So the cars all pulled over. My father and my grandpa thanked all the men who assisted. As it turns out, all of them were related to me. Grandpa and Keisan had hoped to confuse Hachishakusama by surrounding me with many people of the same bloodline. I had to stay overnight while Grandpa was gathering my kinsmen, and it was deemed safer to try to escape during the day, and then the night. Keisan asked me to show her the charm which I had forgotten I was still holding. It turned almost entirely black. Keisan commented, "It should be alright now, but just in case." And with that, she handed me a new charm to hold until I got home. I drove home with my father. During the drive, he told me that one of his friends when he was young had been taken by Hachishakusama. Grandpa and the neighbors delivered my bike back to me later. In talking to my grandpa over the phone, I've confirmed that it was not his voice I heard outside the room that night, which sent shivers down my spine. Hachishakusama targets teens and children, so if the monster speaks with a familiar relative's voice, the victim will normally come to it willingly. I'd almost forgotten this all after 10 years. Grandpa called to tell me that one of the Shiso statues that had sealed Hachishakusama into the shrine looked as if it had been broken by someone. The statue was broken, lined up with the road leading to our home. 2 years ago, my grandpa died, sadly. I was not allowed to attend his funeral. I tried to tell myself it was all superstition, but sometimes I still hear that voice call, Bo, Bo, Bo. The end.
So, don't be mad, but I've heard this story before.
I'm super surprised. I'm not surprised you have.
We have heard this story before.
We have a story.
Uh-huh.
I was like, I know I've heard it before. I know I've heard different renditions of it, and I was like,
Yeah. From one of our favorite podcasts to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's still scary though. But so, and I think it's kind of funny you did the laughter.
Mm-hmm.
the trademark laughter the same way the other person did it. And I'm like, you know what? I think it's more like my great aunt's laugh.
Po, 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 po.
Po, 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 po,
Probably.
po,
Po, po, po, po, po, po.
It's like creepy, but not. And it clearly sounds like laughter, but there's like probably a little like tinge to it that doesn't sound
Po, po,
right.
po, po, po. Like
But
when
I can't do it how she does
like
it.
when I think of it that way, I think more like some like a voice of Baba Yaga kind of style like thing versus like this because
But I think that's appropriate. It is this woman.
it is a woman, but sometimes it's a young woman, not an old woman.
Right?
So sidetracked.
But, I mean, I just think, and they said like the laughter went with the rhythm of the bobbing head at the beginning,
Mhm.
right? Po, po, po,
Po,
po, po, po, po,
po, po, po.
I can like I see Nikki do it. Even like young.
Yeah. So
Ooh,
sidetrack. When I was reading the story and when I read it right now, I was like a tall lady, white dress, laughing. Lady Dimitrescu.
oh my goodness, Dimitrescu.
Dimitrescu.
Actually, I'm impressed you remember the name because I barely remember it. Every time I'd read the subtitles for her name,
Mhm.
it's like, I can't, but then they'd say it and I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
That makes sense.
But that's why I don't like watching things with subtitles unless it's in another language.
Resident Evil, guys.
Because
Village. 8?
Yeah.
Yes, 8.
V-I with the
Village.
L, yeah. Yeah.
So, my first introduction to the story was not that podcast. It was not this.
Huh? It was, wait, what?
My first introduction to this
To the story.
I've
heard renditions of
Cryptid?
this.
I guess I'll
Mhm.
call her. Ghost, demon,
Uh-huh.
Oni.
Where did you first hear it?
The first time I saw this.
I want to know.
It's gonna boost. It's gonna raise our rating up for this episode. I first saw her in a hentai.
Of course you did. Why am I not surprised?
And I was
Just
like,
amused.
I was
Completely
like,
amused.
this is interesting. And then I was like looking into it, like, oh, this is actually real. Oh, okay then. This is
I believe it was Ghost Stories. It was Ghost Stories
Mhm.
or Karas where I first heard about this
yeah.
creature. Because like Karas is like an amassing of all the different like Onis and demons and the Shinto creatures. I love that series. But Ghost Stories is just utterly ridiculous, but also takes like all those creatures and folk tales and stuff from Japan. The dub is ridiculous, but so is the sub.
Ridiculous dubs.
Oh, I feel like we should explain that if you don't watch
If you don't watch foreign films,
foreign stuff. So the dub is the English overdub that they do, the voiceovers they do for things, and then you have the subs, which is the subtitles.
it's not like, you know.
This show was meant, Ghost Stories was meant to be just utterly ridiculous and
Is
kind
that-
of poking fun at everything.
Is that the one with the like the high school and like the guy, like the whole team of like?
No.
No.
That's Ghost Hunt.
Okay.
I like that one. But so the key to that one is you had to have watched it by yourself in the dark at like 1:00 in the morning, like I did. It's not a good idea because I'm terrified of it. Everyone else who watches it is like, this wasn't that scary.
What are your
I
thoughts
love
on the Hachishakusama?
Hachi-
Overall.
how do you spell that?
Hashi. So where do you go?
Hashish. Sha. Shaku.
S HACHI.
A-
H-A.
Oh. HAC. So Hachi.
Sha.
Sha.
Ku.
SHA.
K-U.
KU.
Sama.
Sama.
Hashi. 8. No. Yes.
Hachi.
Shaku.
Hachisha. Hachishaku. Hashishaku. Hashi? Hachi.
Ichi-ni-san.
Not Hashi. I keep.
Hach.
Ichi-ni-san.
It's really
Hachi.
Hach.
Sachi.
Hachi, yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3,
5
4, 5, 6, 7,
6
8, 9,
3
Anyway.
Yeah. Hachi.
Hachi.
Hachisaku.
Shaku.
Hachishaku.
We're
Why am
butchering
I-
this, but if you guys want to tell us how to pronounce this properly, I am welcome to listen how to pronounce it.
Hachishakusama.
Tall.
You have to say it without thinking about it.
Yeah. Like the first couple times I was
Well, so Hachishaku. Hachishakusama.
whatever. Don't think about it and just
Right.
let it flow your mouth.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
So it was 8 feet.
Person.
And sama's like a term of respect. Oh, look, my glasses full.
Yes, it is. I'm paying attention. Someone isn't.
Hey. You technically still had some in there, but I shouldn't let it. That wasn't in the rules, but I feel like I shouldn't let it get empty. Oh my goodness. Still gave me goosebumps, even though I'm like, I know this story. Whew. Episode 9, guys. We're getting really creepy in here.
There was
Go ahead.
when I was looking for stories, there was a lot of how do I want to say this? Like men luring stories. Like in this example,
Men luring, yeah.
like they lure the men to like, by beautiful women or
Warning to
something.
not be leechers. Lechers?
Lechers,
There we go. Leechers.
And I was like, that's interesting. And nature kind of thing. But I was like I said, like because I had a previous thought about this story kind of thing, and from where I first heard it, but with a mix of Resident Evil and Leiden Dimitrescu's or Dimitrescu like
I wonder
interpretation.
if her representation is an inspiration.
Most likely,
Or inspired from that.
probably whatever his name is,
Because
like to put in some cool lore
how
in there.
come I almost always know, what is the company that does? Capcom. There we go. Yeah. I mean, they're Japan based, so that wouldn't be too surprising.
Well, I feel like especially the last
Because you think about like
couple games.
with the doll too, the doll lady.
Mm-hmm. Those they're
And
all
yeah, and the Dr. Moreau was almost like Kappa like.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a little bit more to that.
Probably.
If you looked into it deeper.
I feel that
that creepy
the
children's story.
they're going into a lore, like the Japanese lore versus just like some random bioweapon. But anyway, so like
That'd be fun to do an episode
on
on Resident Evil, like do drinks,
Resident Evil, we should do a
or
let's
like the more recent ones.
we should do a let's play with Resident Evil or Silent Hill. Let's watch you play
No, why me?
because you're fun.
Oh, I still haven't finished Bendy.
But so back to the story. Overall, like I guess you have to be in the moment to like actually like hear that and feel that pressure and that presence on you, kind of thing.
So my impressions of Hachishakusama is I would not want to encounter it. I love hearing the tales. I definitely wouldn't want to encounter majority of their creatures. They're a bit intense. And they're like the kinds that latch on. They don't give up till they get their prey. No. Oh, I was just thinking another good one that has like all the different kinds of creatures is what?
Oh, no anime.
Yeah.
Okay, I was like,
It's a Ghibli with the raccoons.
don't ask me Ghibli.
Poco, not Porco Rosso. That's a different one. I can't think of it now, but the one with the raccoons goes into a little bit of that. All the lores there too, because they have like a kitsune and stuff. It's pretty cool.
But yeah.
If you're interested in learning a little bit more about the different kind of Japanese cryptoids, we're using cryptids, is the word. They
Use different words.
like spirits.
I want to add one more note to my whole story finding to the situation. So I get to work very early. So we're at the point where I can like take a little nap before I start work. Like sometimes 10, 20 minutes. So what I do is I go to my room, I turn on my lights, I lean back in my chair, and just close my eyes. I don't know if it was just the weather outside, because it was frightful, or just something else. But I kid you not, I'm laying there, just closing my eyes, and I feel something tugging on my short pocket. And I wake up, and I'm like, what was that? And all of a sudden, I feel cold air in that room. And I was like, huh.
Yeah, honey. At least the building you work in, that building's cursed.
So,
Haunted or cursed, a little bit of both.
a little bit of column A, a little column B. So I was thinking of the whole idea of like when you start, like you're watching these movies all the time. When you start diving into the supernatural, into the lore or something, it starts to be more active, more that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So it's like,
well, it's like giving that it power.
You're giving that entity energy
right?
and giving it back life kind of thing. So I was like, well then, I guess my dream of getting pulled by a demon and finding it might come true sooner or later. So I get stronger. It's my thoughts on that. It's my thoughts on that.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, no. Do I want to encounter this giant lady? 8 foot's a lot. Even if it's 11.9 inches, 8 foot's a lot.
Yeah, I think that's how tall our bookcase is.
That's a lot of woman.
Yeah.
Totally worth it.
Have fun with that.
I will have fun with that kind of thing.
No. Oh my goodness.
But yeah. Okay. Any last minute thoughts before we wrap this bad boy up?
You guys have any other spooky themed Japanese liquors to point us in? Or any international liquors? I really want to get more of those in because there's so many amazing stories worldwide.
Oh, yes.
That Eric could find. And I know there's really amazing liquors out there too. We just need a little bit of help because we have to just work with what we can find.
Yeah, and what happens...
And we're happy to go out there and find that stuff.
Yeah, like normally we go to like a Bevmo or Total Wine and just start walking up and down the aisles.
Yeah.
Sometimes a little easier when there's just two of us. Sometimes a little harder when we have a little Boo and Monster.
But Bevmo and Total Wine can only carry so much.
Yeah.
And
it's all original.
It helps just if you know something's out there, the demand increases for it more and it gets it more out there. So I really hope that in the future we can bring in more international spirits. And of both the alcoholic and spectral.
Ooh, yes. I want to get into some. If you guys know of any like Indian or like in that area, kind of like spooky spirits, let me know because there's some cool stories out there. I have some coworkers I can ask. Oh my God, they'll get down. They'll get down with those stories.
Yeah. So just if you ever have a recommendation, we actually have a spot on our website. We have a page for that where you can send our your liquor suggestions. But even if you can't find that, you can fill out our contact form or contact us on any of our Instagram pages.
Just
but we'll get into that in last call. But let us know. We do love discovering new things.
Yeah.
And it opens up our spooky little world here.
I am willing to try anything once.
We are.
You tell me to try it, and I'll be like, sure, I'll give it a try, and I'll give you my honest opinion. I will not have any judgment based whether it's come from or who tells me to do it, kind of thing. We might not like bourbon, but there's the bourbon you love that is spooky.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Devil's Kiss, bring it on.
And then we'll try it. I will try it, and I'll be like, I'll give you my honest opinion. It won't be like, oh, I don't like bourbon, I'm not going to like this. I'll be like,
yeah.
Clean slate, let's try this bad boy.
Yeah, but I mean, I think you guys have found we're 9 episodes in now. We're pretty open with the liquors. Pretty much everything we've tried, we've enjoyed. I can't think of one we haven't. Even the bourbon, even though we're like, it's not usually our thing, this isn't bad to put into a cocktail.
No, for sure.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure, yeah.
And that makes us a wrap on episode 9.
Ooh, episode 9.
Oh my gosh.
Okay then. thanks for sipping along with us on our very 9th episode.
Very nice. That's not what that says.
It doesn't say very nice, but it says very first.
Oh, I apparently didn't fix your notes.
Thanks for taking a lot of our very first 9th episode.
That's why you don't copy and paste, guys.
We want to keep the spirits flowing, so please be sure to support us by reviewing, subscribing to our podcast. If you enjoy the show, be sure to share with others. Remember, we're just two people who happen to be married, drinking, and talking about ghosts and tall ladies.
I mean, doesn't get more fun than that.
Can I get like a cutout of Lady Dimitrescu and put it back here?
No.
I know what you're thinking.
But it won't fit in the timeline here.
Later.
Yeah, so you can find us, as I mentioned, at our website, SIPS, the letter N, spirits.com. And make sure that's spirits with an S. This guy over here, he's like, I tried looking for it. It's not pulling up. I was like, it's spirits.
Spirits, plural.
Plural.
I can't write. I can't read. As you guys can very well tell, I can't read.
We also share these episodes on YouTube. So if you want a visual format, we've got it there. Or you can find us on all podcast hosts, as well as Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, which I always find funny when I go back and edit episodes. And the early episodes, I was like, yeah, I don't know if we're going to do TikTok. And now I'm like,
we got to do more.
We should have dropped Facebook, and TikTok's doing great.
TikTok's doing great. We're all doing great. And we love all the support we're getting. We love all the interactions we're getting. Thank you for sharing us.
Yeah, the shares and the commenting and the messages. We really, really appreciate it.
We appreciate anything you guys say to us. I let her respond because I
on Instagram,
you know, and I see both. I see your interactions, and I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Like, you know, I'm glad that you guys are enjoying the content we're providing to you.
So if you guys are reaching out on Twitter and you're not getting a response, it's because he's not doing his job.
Well, because no one's reaching out on Twitter because you don't give me stuff to post.
Okay.
Anyway,
we won't get into that here, but yeah. So I'm like, your thing's empty.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. I thought it was last time I poured it. But yeah, so you can find us on all those social media outlets, Instagram, Twitter, where we're most active, TikTok as well. But yeah, come find us. Come say hi.
Come say hi.
Don't be shy.
Don't be shy.
We have had people who are like, hey, we found this liquor, and they're sharing it. That gets me so excited.
People have been finding our ghosts around, and I was like, yes. We have not tried it yet.
Yeah, no, we haven't. We're saving it for something special.
So save it for a special moment. So don't be those. We mark a live for that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we should save it for the celebration time tonight.
But yeah. But anyway.
So thank you guys.
Thank you guys for tuning in with us again. 9 episodes in. Hopefully we can do 9 more, if not more than that, and keep going. Keep the liquors pouring and the spirits spooking.
Yeah, we have 1 more episode left till we wrap up this group of episodes.
This season.
We're not really going to split it into seasons, but we're doing 10 episodes, and then we kind of do a little something fun, and then we take a little break, jump into 10 more.
And then 10 more.
And in the next 10, and why I feel like I'm bringing it up is we're doing a little bit of a shift with the next 10 episodes, which will be really fun, but I think we'll go into that more next episode.
Yes. Or as an extra episode by itself. Extra commentary.
Yeah, so we have some fun things planned.
Yeah, we have some planned things to do. And like I said, any suggestions we're willing to do. We're willing to buy internationally. We're willing to look around and hunt for these things. And again, once again, we can't say thank you enough for supporting us, for listening to us. And
if you're listening this far, hello and thank you and welcome.
This is your first time. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome. Hopefully you enjoyed.
If it's your 9th time or 10th time, I guess, technically, after episode 0, you made it through episode 0 and then made it all the way to episode 9. We love you.
She does. I don't know.
All right. So
anyway, We hope to catch you around the bar next time.
Cheers.
Cheers.